We'll go ahead and begin flat on our backs today. Bringing the palms of our feet to the mat, knees up towards the ceiling. Just taking a moment or two here to check in with our posture on the mat. Feeling both of our shoulder blades melting evenly into the mat. The backs of our hips here melting evenly into the mat as well. And taking a moment also to check in with our breathing. Making sure we're taking those nice big inhales and complete exhales. And setting our intention here that we'll do our best to keep taking those nice big inhales and complete exhales as we move throughout our practice today. Making sure that even when we're holding in certain positions, certain postures, that we're doing our best to ensure that we are not holding our breath. So taking a couple more of those nice, deep, complete breath cycles here. And the next time we come into an inhale, sending our arms up overhead, biceps to ears. And as we exhale, drawing our knees into our chest, bringing the palms of our hands to our knees. As we inhale and pressing our knees just slightly away from our body. Exhale, drawing our knees back in. Repeating that motion here a few times. Following your own breath, your own pace. And the next time we find ourselves with our knees tucked in here, we'll find that moment of pause. And then hugging our right knee into our chest. We'll inhale, and as we straighten our left leg, sending left foot towards the ceiling. And as we exhale, setting that left leg down all the way till it's resting comfortably on the mat. Bringing the palms of our hands to the backs of our back of our right thigh here. Beginning with our right toes pointed. Inhaling and straightening the right leg, sending those right toes up towards the ceiling. As we exhale, flexing the toes, bringing our toes towards our forehead. Inhaling, we'll point the toes. And then exhale, bringing that right foot back down. Repeating that. Inhale as we straighten the leg, toes pointed. Exhale, flexing the toes towards our forehead. Inhale as we point. Exhale, bringing that right foot back down. Do it one more time. Big inhale and straightening that right leg. Exhale, flexing the toes. Inhale, point. Exhale, bringing that right foot back in. And now bringing our right palm to the inside of our right knee as we inhale and sending that right knee off to the right side. Exhale, back to center. Inhale, opening up, right knee off to the right side. Exhale, back to center. This time we'll inhale and setting that right hip off to the right side and holding there, grounding through that left sit bone, really trying to keep that left sit bone into the mat as we have that right knee open up. And then we can see if we'd like, we can bring that right hand to the outside of this right knee here. Maybe we'd like to straighten that right leg. Wherever we're at, whether we have this knee bent here or we've got that right leg out, we're breathing nice big inhales, complete exhales. And on our next exhale, bending that knee, bringing that right foot in and coming back to center, planting that right foot and bringing left foot up to join it, finding our comfortable position, our comfortable foot position for our bridge. That might be with your feet walked out a little bit further than hip distance, might be at hip distance or maybe a little bit closer. I invite you to kind of play around with this whenever you're coming in and out of bridge pose to see which feels the best for you. We'll bring our hands down to our sides. And as we inhale and sending our hips up towards the ceiling, arms up overhead. Exhale, melting the hips back down to the mat, hands are turning to our sides. Inhaling and sending the hips up, arms up overhead. Exhale, melting the hips back down to the mat, hands returning to the sides. We'll do that one more time here. Big inhale, and as we send those hips up towards the ceiling, arms up overhead. And exhale, melting the hips back to the mat, hands returning to our sides. This time keeping those hips planted, big inhale, and release, adjust our arms up overhead. Exhale, drawing our knees into our chest, palms of our hands to our knees, and repeating that slight press and pull motion here. So inhaling as we press the knees away, exhale, drawing the knees back in. Moving through that a few times. Following your own breath, your own pace. And the next time we find ourselves with our knees drawn in, finding that moment of pause. Hugging our left knee into our chest this time as we inhale and sending that right foot up towards the ceiling. And then exhale, sending the right leg all the way down until it's resting comfortably on the mat. Bringing the palms of our hands now to the back of our left leg and beginning with those left toes pointed. Inhaling and straightening that left leg, left toes towards the ceiling. Exhale, flexing the toes towards our forehead. Inhale, point. Exhale, bringing that left foot back down. Again, inhale as we send those left toes up. Exhale, flex. Inhale, point. Exhale, bringing that right foot back down. Doing that one more time here. Big inhale and sending the left toes up towards the ceiling. Exhale as we flex the toes towards our forehead. Inhale, point. Exhale, foot comes down. Bringing the palm of our left hand to the inside of our left knee as we inhale and sending that knee off to the side. Exhale, center. Inhale, opening up, left knee off to the left side. Exhale to center. And this next time as we inhale and sending that left knee off to the left side, holding there, keeping that right hip grounded into the mat here. And then offering again that left hand to the outside of that left knee, and if you have the room, straightening that right leg or left leg all the way out there and holding if it feels good, if you have the room, and remembering to breathe, grounding through that right hip into the mat. Breathing, big inhales, complete exhales. And on our next exhale, bringing that foot back in and then knee to center. And then keeping that left knee hugged in, we'll draw right knee up to join it. Palms of our hands returning to our knees and repeating that motion from before. Inhale as we press the knees away. Exhale, drawing the knees back in. Moving through that a few times. Following your own breath, your own pace. And the next time we find ourselves with our knees hugged in, we'll find that moment of pause. And then inhaling and pressing our knees all the way away until our feet are resting comfortably on the mat. And then picking a side, whichever side feels the best to us in this moment to roll onto. And then we'll slowly bring ourselves up into our tabletop position. And then finding our comfortable tabletop here. Finding where our hands feel the best, whether that's directly beneath our shoulders, perhaps walked up a little bit further up the mat. Tops of our feet pressing into the mat. And as we inhale in, our tailbone and then crown of our head will lift towards the ceiling. Exhale, rounding our back, melting tailbone and forehead towards the mat. Moving through this a few times here. Following your own breath, your own pace. And the next time we come through that neutral position with our spinal column, finding that moment of pause. And this is going to be the beginning of that sequence here. So we'll take a big inhale in. And as we exhale, stepping our left foot up to replace our left hand, bringing our left hand to the outside of that left foot. And then deciding what we'd like to do with that back knee, whether we'd like to keep it where it is or perhaps step it back just a little bit to kind of help deepen this stretch. Whatever feels the best for you, I invite you to do. We're really shifting our weight forward here in this stretch. So we're stretching through the top of that back leg here, through the back of our front leg and breathing. And then we'll curl our back toes, take a big inhale in. And as we exhale, shifting our hips back, straightening this left leg here, straightening that left knee, keeping those left toes planted this time around. Inhaling in, bringing our weight back to the front. Exhaling, shifting our hips back again, straightening that leg, left leg, this time allowing those left toes to come up off the mat, flexing towards the ceiling. Inhaling and coming back to front. And exhaling, shifting our hips back, this time deciding which foot position was best for you, whether that's with those toes planted or toes up off the mat. And we'll hold here in this back position. taking those big inhales and complete exhales. And inhaling in, we'll bring our weight back to the front here. And then uncurling our back toes and walking our left foot off to the left side, just far enough so we can get our left shoulder to the inside of that left knee here, coming into our lizard variation. And this right here is a perfectly great stretch. If this is where you're feeling the most comfortable, I invite you to stay here. There is the option to begin working that left elbow down towards that left ankle, or coming maybe just to the mid calf here, or all the way down to that ankle, reaching for the right wrist with the left hand, wherever you feel the most comfortable, where you're feeling that stretch but you're not feeling any pain. We'll hold there, taking those nice big inhales and complete exhales. And when we come into our next inhale, if we were down, we'll press ourselves up nice and tall. And then swinging this left heel towards our right knee. Starting out nice and tall here as we work into our pigeon pose. Beginning right here, there's about a 45-degree angle in this front knee here. And we'll begin working that back leg back as we sink in slowly into our pigeon pose. And again, staying up nice and tall here, or perhaps we'd like to come onto our forearms, maybe resting our forehead to our arms or to the mat. Wherever we're at, taking those nice big inhales and complete exhales. Again, making sure we're not feeling any pain. A good stretch is always nice, but yoga should never hurt. So breathing here, if we're up tall, maybe staying nice and open in the chest here. Checking in with our back heart alignment, maybe drawing those shoulder blades together as the top spin out. Wherever we're at, breathing. And then when we come into that next inhale, we'll all press up nice and tall, curl those back toes, lift up that back knee, and bring our left knee to the mat, right knee to the mat, and we'll press ourselves back into a child's pose of our choosing, whether that's with our knees spread wide, or perhaps we're bringing our knees together, maybe walking our arms out overhead, or maybe making a little pillow to rest our forehead wherever we're at, taking those big inhales and complete exhales. Then inhaling and bringing ourselves back up into our tabletop position. Working through a few cat-cows here, inhaling in as we lift the tailbone and crown of our head towards the ceiling. Exhale, rounding the back, melting tailbone and forehead towards the mat. And we do this a few times here, following your own breath, your own pace. And the next time we come through that neutral position with our spinal column, finding that moment to pause. Taking a big inhale in, and as we exhale, stepping right foot up to replace right hand, and then bringing that right hand to the outside of the right foot, maybe stepping that back knee back a little bit to help deepen that stretch if you'd like, or leaving it where it was. And then really shifting our weight forward here, we'll take a big inhale in, and as we exhale, curling those back toes and shifting our hips towards that back heel, straightening our right leg, right toes planted. Inhaling in back to front. Exhaling, shifting the way back, this time allowing those right toes to come up off the mat, right toes flex towards the ceiling. Inhaling back to the front. And exhaling, shifting our weight back. This time choosing which foot position we prefer as we straighten that front leg and hold here in our reverse lunge. Taking those big inhales, complete exhales. Inhaling in, we'll bring ourselves back to the front. And then uncurling our back toes, walking that right foot off to the right side here. just enough to get that right shoulder in front of that right leg. And again, choosing our lizard variation. So whether we'd like to be up here nice and tall, or perhaps we're working that right elbow down our calf here towards that right ankle. Wherever we're at, taking those big inhales, complete exhales. Big inhale as we press ourselves up nice and tall, and then bringing that right heel towards our left knee. And again, we're nice and tall here to begin, and then we'll slowly begin working that back leg back as we come into our pigeon pose. And finding that place where we're comfortable. We're feeling that nice stretch, but no pain. And again, if we're staying up nice and tall, maybe we're working here on keeping our chest nice and open, working on our back heart alignment here, drawing those bottom points of the shoulder blades together as the top parts fan out. Or perhaps we'd like to come on to our forearms here, maybe resting ourselves into our pigeon pose. Whatever feels the best for us today in our pigeon, we'll take those big inhales, complete exhales. And we'll take one more big inhale in. And as we exhale, curling those back toes, lifting up that back leg, bringing our right knee to the mat, joined by the left, and then pressing ourselves back into that child's pose of our choosing, or maybe a different one. Maybe we feel like a different child's pose now than we did a few minutes ago. Whatever feels best, we're resting here, breathing. And inhaling in, we'll bring ourselves back up into our tabletop. And again, working through a few of our cat-cows here. Inhaling in, lifting tailbone and crown of our head towards the ceiling. Exhale, rounding our back, melting tailbone and forehead towards the mat. You can do this a few times, following your own breath, your own pace. And the next time we find ourselves coming to that neutral position with our spinal column, finding that moment of pause. And then crossing our ankles, or doing whatever we need to do to make our way to a seated position. We're just gonna work our way, take our time working our way back onto our backs. Keeping the palms of our feet planted into the mat, knees up towards the ceiling. So we're cooling ourselves off now. Still taking those big inhales, complete exhales. When we come to that next inhale, sending just our arms up overhead, biceps to ears. Exhale, drawing our knees back into our chest, palms of our hands to our knees. As we inhale and pressing our knees away slightly. Exhale, drawing our knees back in. Moving through this a few times here. Following your own breath, your own pace. And the next time we come into an inhale, as the knees are moving away, we'll send our arms up overhead. Exhale, back to center. Repeating that motion here a few times. Again, really allowing your breath to guide you. And maybe seeing if you would like, as the knees are going away, as the arms are going up, we can send the feet up as well. Exhale, coming back to center. Whichever movement works the best in our bodies today, in this moment. We'll stay there. We won't stay there, we'll move there. And then next time we find ourselves with our knees drawn into our chest, palms of our hands on our knees, finding that moment of pause. On a big inhale in as we send our knees away from our body all the way until our feet are resting comfortably on the mat. And now finding our comfortable resting pose, whether that's with the palms of our feet on the mat so our knees are up towards the ceiling. I invite you to stay there if that is it. We can always send the legs down long, bringing the hands at our sides, maybe resting on our bellies. Maybe we have a blanket we'd like to bring under our head, or a bolster, or a pillow we'd like to put under our knees, whatever feels best. And once we've found our comfortable resting position here, we'll do a quick full body scan. seeing if we notice anywhere where maybe we're holding on to a little bit of extra tension, and doing our best to allow that tension to melt away, even if it's just for the few minutes that we're resting here today. Feeling our shoulder blades melting into the mat as our shoulders move away from our ears. Relaxing the muscles in our face, unfurling our brow, relaxing our jaw, allowing our tongue to move away from the roof of our mouth, and allowing our breath to return to its nice natural resting state. As we lay here breathing and resting, closing our eyes if we're comfortable to do so, softening our gaze if we prefer. And breathing here for the next few minutes.